Alright, hello everyone. We are going to go ahead and set up a brand new Black Widow Flybarless module from RC Aerodyne. And this unit is just being released now, so we're going to do a walkthrough and show everybody kind of how this setup works. First things first, if you already have your helicopter set up, if you're converting it to Flybarless, you'll want to go ahead and reset your helicopter in your radio, set it up as a single servo 90 degrees, set it up with no sub trims and no trims at all whatsoever. So you want to make sure you got that done first and foremost. Once we have that done, you want to go ahead and connect your Flybarless module up to your receiver, and they make that pretty easy in the instructions. All you need to do is look at the corresponding page for the type of receiver you're using, and you'll be all set. So that's a piece of cake. Once you have that set up, we've got our servos plugged into our receiver plugged into our Flybarless module. Once that's done, what we want to do is go ahead and turn on our radio, make sure that the correct model is selected. We have our Robird software up, and hopefully you guys can see that clearly enough. And it just simply says disconnected down in the corner. Grab our supplied USB cable. We're going to plug that into the unit. We give that just a moment to come up, at which point in time we can hit Setup Guide. And at this point in time I usually go ahead and power up my receiver as well. I'm going to do that right there. So that's all good to go. On our first page, the only thing that we need to worry about is the receiver type. S-Bus, DSM-7, or PWM. I just go ahead and leave it on PWM. You can hit save on each page. That'll help you out. So hit save, hit next. The following page is the servo page. This page we want to use not to level the swash plate, but to 90 up all of our servo arms. So what I want to do is you've got left, center, and right. And if you move them, you'll find out real quick. I can see this one over here moving. You'll find out real fast what moves what. Now I already went through and did this once, so I know the values I'm looking for. But it's pretty simple. Just watch your servo arms and watch for those to 90 up. And once those 90 up, you should be good to go. So I've got my 3 values in there. Now when you do that, you want to make sure that you powered on, and before you plugged in, you went to center stick. Now I didn't happen to do that this time around. So power on, go to center stick, then plug in your unit, and you'll be able to see a little bit better there. Your tail servo, you can also do the same thing for 90ing that up. And you can also center your motor speed controller. That would be if you're running nitro, I suspect. And then you can also change all of your frequencies for your servos. I'm going to go ahead and leave these default, as that's what works with the servos I've got. And hit save. Hit next. Now this page gets people stuck a little bit. What we want to do is verify that just with our pitch on our collective stick, we want to verify our servos are moving in the correct direction. So what I want to do is make sure I hit save at this point, unplug the unit. Once it's unplugged, I can wait for the Flybarless unit to come active again. There it goes. And I want to move my stick up and down and look at which ones are moving backwards. Okay, so I've got my front two servos are moving the correct directions there. My rear servo, or my elevator, is moving the incorrect direction. So what I want to do is plug my unit back in. And as soon as it comes active, go back into Setup Guide and just click Next until we get to the page we're on right there. Now we know that the one that was moving backwards was the center. Uncheck the box. Or if your helicopter had something different, you might have to check the box. Hit save again. And unplug the unit. We're going to wait for it to go active once again. Alright, now we're going to check once again. So everything's moving in unison, but everything is backwards. Alright, very good. Plug her back in. We're going to do the same exact thing again. Go into Setup Guide, hit Next until we get to the servo direction page, and I'm going to check or uncheck all the boxes, hit save, unplug the unit one more time, wait for it to come active. There we go. Check my pitch. And there we have it. Everything is moving up and down in unison. Now what I want to check right now is that my cyclics are all moving in the correct direction. So I want right aileron, that's correct. Left aileron, that is correct. Elevator is backwards. Alright, so we know what's backwards. Plug our unit back in. Hit Setup Guide. Stop on the very first page, and all along the right hand side you'll see a whole bunch of reverse check boxes. The one that I need to reverse is elevator. So I've got aileron, elevator, pitch, rudder, and then rudder gain, motor, and then the remainder of the gains. I just want to look at the top few. Elevator is the second one. I want to check the box on the right hand side, hit save, and unplug the unit. Wait for that to go active again. Alright, pitch is moving correctly, aileron is moving correctly, elevator is also moving correctly. Plug our unit back in, go right back into the Setup Guide. We're going to hit Next to the servo page, Next to servo direction. We have this correct now, so we're going to move on to the next page. Here is our swash plate type. We've got 120, 135, 140, and 90. Obviously most of us are going to be using the 120. And if for some reason your center servo is in front, make sure you check the box. Hit save, hit next. Alright, this part I'm not going to be doing with you. This is our collective pitch. So this is where we would limit it. We should at this point have a level swash plate. Once we 90'd up all of our servos, we should have taken our links and lengthened or shortened those as needed to get a level swash plate. Now when we get to our collective pitch page, all we need to do is raise our stick all the way to the top, lower it all the way to the bottom, and you'll see on the computer screen it lights up the top and the bottom. So if I had my blades on here with the rest of my head, I could move my stick all the way to the top, put my pitch gauge on it, and then simply reduce that travel to get myself down to the amount of pitch that I want. Most people are going to be going for 12. So you can reduce it or increase it, I should say. Once you have it, your positive done, you could then lower your stick, do the same for the bottom, increase or decrease that number to give you the amount of pitch that you need on the bottom side. Fairly simple procedure. Once you have that done, hit save, hit next. The next one to set up would be your cyclic pitch. So it's only going to allow you to increase or decrease this, and it's going to move your servos for you, and you're going for 8 degrees. And you'll notice if I hit back, my swash plate's nearly level right now. When I hit next to come to my cyclic pitch, it automatically tilts that swash plate for you. So it's throwing in that cyclic pitch, and you can just increase or decrease that until you have 8 degrees. Once you have that, hit save, hit next. Then we have 2 things on this page. First is the orientation of the unit. You either have it on the top of your helicopter or the bottom. Sorry about that. Camera shut down. So like I said, you've either got it on the top, the bottom, or one of the sides. You just want to go in here and let the software know where you have it, and if the wires are facing out the front or out the back. Your next setting is your tail servo direction, which is actually off camera on mine. Because I don't have any skids, I can't scoot this around too easily, but this is the exact same thing as setting up our swash plate. Right now, the tail servo won't function, so what we need to do is hit save where we're at, go ahead and unplug it. Once we have it unplugged, we can wait for the Flybarless module to go active. And at that point, we can check our rudder servo direction. And it looks like mine is good. Mine does not need to be reversed. Yours may. Let's go ahead and plug it back in. Hit setup guide. Hit next until we get to the page where we left off at our tail direction. You can reverse it if need be. If not, go ahead and hit next. Here we have our swash servo limit. This is a little counterintuitive because it tells us to move our rudder stick to check for mechanical interference. So if we move our rudder stick, it's going to move our swash plate up and down. And the only thing it wants us to do is check for mechanical interference against the head block, which I'm missing right now, and our bearing plate. So at least on the bottom side, I know I don't have any. And on the top side, I'm not sure. I may or may not. And then what that allows you to do is go ahead and reduce it, and it gives you 3 sliders, one for each one of your servos. So you can simply move it all the way up. You'll see the top 3 numbers on your software light up red, and if you move it down, you'll see the bottom 3 numbers light up red. Once you have them, you can hit the set button. Oh, I'm sorry, the set button actually reduces them. So once you have everything set up to the numbers you're looking for, go ahead and hit save. So we're going to hit save. We're going to continue on. Next page is tail and cyclic limit. The first two sliders are for our tail in each direction, and it will allow our rudder stick to work and our tail servo will be active. And when you move your stick left, the left box will light up red, and right, the right box will light up red. If you have any binding there in either direction, go ahead and reduce that. If you're not getting full throw in either direction, you can increase it. So to the right, I'm not quite getting all the throw I want. I'm going to go ahead and increase it some. And I went ahead and dialed that up quite a bit to the right. And to the left, looks like I could go just a little more. Increase that just a little bit there as well. So I increased those numbers to get a little bit more throw. And over here on the right, you'll see a big circle for the limit of your cyclic pitch. What you want to do is put your collective all the way down, move your cyclic around in a big circle. Make sure you're not hitting in any direction. If you are, you're going to have to use this RECT number to either increase or decrease the size of your circle. I stand corrected. You're going to use these sliders on the left and the right to increase or decrease the amount of throw. Once you've done that with your collective stick down, you need to then raise it and do the same thing with it at the top to again make sure you're not getting any mechanical binding. If you're getting binding, use the slider to increase or decrease, and you'll see that will make the size of that circle bigger or smaller. So that's pretty easy. It doesn't look like, at least on the bottom side, I've been having. Looks pretty good. I'll have to check the top again once I have my head on there. Once you have that done, hit save, hit finish, and you're done. That's the basic setup of this thing. I'm going to unplug it. And it's active. Got all my servos, and if I pick it up and give it a tilt, that swash plate wants to move around correct. My tail looks good. The swash plate is a little hard to see because it doesn't move huge amounts, but generally I can see it doing the things that it wants to do. Yep, it's pretty small movements, but it is doing the correct things there. So it's all set up and it's ready to go. Your gain adjustments are right on the top. So if you need to increase or decrease those will be easy to get at. That's it, folks. Looks pretty simple. I didn't need any drivers or anything fancy on the computer. I just plugged in the cable it came with, and it was off to the races. That was my second time through it. So I'm not well versed in it by any means. I just kind of wanted to throw a video up, let everybody know how easy this thing is to set up and get going. This frame is a little different than most are used to. This is going into a scale fuselage. So it'll be a little while before this is airborne, but once it is, I'll be sure to make another video and let people know kind of what I'm experiencing with the Black Widow. More than likely there will probably be other reviews up by that point. But nonetheless, hopefully this turns out okay and you guys are able to see everything on this computer screen all right, and as well as on the helicopter. So enjoy, and good flying, everyone.